Hey guys, welcome back to more political chatter. In this video, we will be talking about the 2024 presidential election. I have not done one of these presidential election scenarios in a very long time because I've been focusing so much on the midterms. But the midterms are almost over. We can project that Democrats will shockingly keep control of the Senate. And the House currently stands with 204 Democrats and 211 Republicans. 218 are needed for majority. So Democrats really have a good shot at least some shot at winning the House. So basically, in the midterms, the Democrats shocked the nation and themselves. They were not expected to do nearly as good as that. Just take Washington's 3rd Congressional District, for example. The Democrat Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez by 538 was given a 2% chance of winning, and Joe Kent was given a 98% chance of winning. Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez won that race. Alright, Democrats across the country are shocking people. They just won Nevada. Cortez Masto was not favored to. Fetterman won in Pennsylvania. He was not expected to. Kotek won in Oregon. She was not favored to. And it's really looking like Katie Hobbs is somehow going to win in Arizona. That was really, really unexpected. And if we're looking at margins, Josh Shapiro won by a safe margin in Pennsylvania, likely margin for Whitmer in Michigan. And big surprise, Tony Evers, the governor of Wisconsin, won re-election. That was a race that most people had going to the Republicans. But why? Most people are blaming all of this on Donald Trump. They are blaming the GOP's poor performance in these midterms on Donald Trump. And looking at 2024, I think that it's going to be a lot different than how I thought it was before the midterms. I think that Biden is going to do much better than I expected. But more so, Donald Trump's just going to do so much weaker than I ever thought he was. But he has proved to be a unpopular figure in American public, and I know we see this in approval ratings, but Biden is just as unpopular as Trump. But Trump caused the entire GOP in 2022 to go crashing down, and we see Republicans, Pat Toomey, even Candace Owens, are saying, you know what, I'm not supporting a Trump 2024 presidential run. I think we should get another Republican in there. So I've totally reconsidered this election. Biden versus Trump 2024, and let's get right into it. So I do think that Trump would win the Republican nomination against anyone. I just made an election night between him and DeSantis, and I think that he would narrowly beat DeSantis. Biden, on the other hand, he's going to pretty easily win his Democratic nomination, but more importantly, after these midterms, it is apparent that before the midterms, it was expected that at least one notable Democrat would run, right? Like run against him because of his age, etc. But after these midterms, this really boosted his chances in the primary. There won't be any notable figure running against him now. He proved to lead the Democratic Party to victory in these 2022 midterms. But let's get started. Safe Democratic states. Washington and Oregon, I both believe, would be safe. Oregon went likely for Hillary. I think it would be safe for Biden. California, Hawaii, Maryland, his home state of Delaware, D.C., New York. Connecticut would still be safe and won't shift 5 points to the right. Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Maine's first. One state we won't go into likely states yet. But anyway, safe states for Trump. Oh, sorry, one more. Illinois. One safe states for Trump: Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, North and South Dakota. Essentially, Montana would be safe, along with Kansas and Oklahoma. Nebraska at large. Nebraska's first, Nebraska's third. Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, West Virginia. Probably Indiana would be safe, even without Mike Pence on the ticket. And again, these margins, a safe margin is 15% margin or more. Likely is 5 to 15%. Lean is 1 to 5%. Tilt is less than 1%. All right, these are all the safe states. That puts Trump at 113, Biden at 167. So as you can see, Biden does have the advantage here. So now let's get into some likely states. Again, 5 to 15%. Number 1, New Jersey, very close to being safe, but it will shift at least 2 points to the right. We have to remember that. These states are not staying as Democratic as they were in 2020. So It went to Biden by 16%, so, minus 2 or 3. That makes it a likely margin. Going to Minnesota, I'm putting this as likely Biden. Tim Walz, the Republican here, running for governor this year, had a great performance. He won by 7 or 8. Great performance there. And Scott Jensen, the Republican, is a lot more generic and is a much better candidate than Donald Trump is. Trump won't win in Minnesota. Another likely state. Let's see. Honestly, it's kind of hard to say. But honestly, I would make New Hampshire likely Democrat. This was a race that was expected to be at lean or tilt going into Election Day. I had it lean for the Democrats and Maggie Hassan. But the Republican was Don Bolduc, who's closely aligned with Trump, endorsed by Trump, election denier, all this stuff. And this race was expected to be so close, and it went to Maggie Hassan by 9%. That was a great showing for Maggie Hassan, and Trump would arguably do even worse than Don Bolduc, and the same could be said for for Joe Biden would do worse than Maggie Hassan. Both Trump and Biden would be more unpopular than Hassan and Bolduc, but regardless, I think that Biden would win here by a likely margin. I also think Maine at large would be likely. I don't think I need to talk about that one that much. It went to him by a likely margin in 2020. And the state of Virginia, I'm keeping, or not keeping, I don't know why I said that. I'm putting as likely Democrat. This is one they have a Republican governor, but Glenn Youngkin is a lot more popular than Donald Trump, okay? Virginia is a very Democratic establishment state. They elected Glenn Youngkin because, first, they were tired of Biden. But Youngkin is not associated with Trump as much as others, like Don Bolduc, for example. He is not. He is a very electable guy. In Virginia, Trump is not electable. He lost it by 4% in 2016. Let's see. Going down to New Mexico and Colorado, probably both of these would be likely. They're going to stay around the same range as they were in 2020. I don't see these two going, crazy anywhere. So that's it for likely Democrat states. Now let's get into some likely Republican states. I'm sorry, I actually forgot a safe state, that being the state of Alaska. That will be decided by more than 15% margin. Sorry about that. But going to likely Republican Texas, number one, Biden. Biden isn't a type of Democrat that could win Texas. You need someone younger, probably a minority who could carry Texas. Very progressive. You need. Joe Biden is not that guy. It's going to stay with Trump by around 7 or 8% as it was in 2020. I definitely see Trump winning the state of Texas. I don't think it'll be that close. Going to Florida's tough, but I'm going to put it as likely Republican. I do believe that Trump will expand by more than 3%. Looking at Ron DeSantis' performance last night, he won by 19%. I don't know. But a lot of DeSantis voters would have to vote for Biden in 2024. Like, a lot. Not just some, because there will be some, of course, but a lot for it to be at even lean or tilt or Biden win. So I'm putting it as likely because most of these DeSantis voters will be voting for Trump, and we have to keep that in mind. South Carolina, definitely likely Republican, if not safe. That's right around the upper likely side, 11 or 12 points. Going to Maine second. I think that this one is staying with Trump. Remember, it barely shifted to the right or to the left in 2020. That's very much Trump territory. And then Iowa and Ohio. Biden very unpopular in both. These two barely shifted to the left in 2020, and a lot of people had Ohio going blue. It went to Trump by 8. Biden came nowhere close. They shouldn't have spent any money on it. And Biden is just a horrible candidate in these white Rust Belt states, particularly these two. And I see Trump winning them both pretty handily. 8 or 9 points. I see him slightly expanding his margin in these states. And that is it for likely states. That puts Biden at 225 electoral votes, Donald Trump 219, 270 are needed to win. So lean Democratic states. Number one is the state of Arizona. I think that Biden will carry the state of Arizona, by a lean margin. I think that is going to expand in this state. Looking at how strong the Democrats performed in Arizona this year, it is insane. Kari Lake was expected to win the Republican governorship of Arizona. No, Katie Hobbs, it's really looking like is going to win this race. And then we have Mark Kelly on the Senate side, who's defeating Blake Masters by around 4 or 5%. That is an insane margin for Arizona for a Democrat. So things are really looking good for the future of the Democrats in the state of Arizona. And Biden won it in 2020, and Trump, Blake Masters and Kari Lake, the two Republicans who are losing badly, are both backed by Trump, both very much Trump supporters, election deniers, and all this stuff. They're way too extreme, and a lot of Republicans will be voting for Biden in 2024 as they did in 2020. Moving on. So, another issue is that we have to remember Roe v. Wade won't be as much as an issue in 2024 because this is the presidency. The president doesn't have as much say as Congress people or as senators or representatives, so I don't think it's going to be that heavy of an issue. But moving on, regardless, going to the state of Michigan, I think that Joe Biden is going to win here by a lean margin. Looking at Gretchen Whitmer's performance, she did very well. I'm not here. No, I don't have it open. I'm actually not quite sure what her margin was exactly. However, she did well. Okay. I think around just as well she did in 2018. Did not even shift to the right very much at all. And Tudor Dixon, the Republican, was supposed to be strong. She's endorsed by Trump. Another election, not very extreme. Trump is not popular in Michigan. I mean, Biden isn't either. But looking at Whitmer's performance, she's heavily associated with Biden. Dixon is heavily associated with Trump. And I know Whitmer's the incumbent and all this stuff and that she's approved of. But, saying how the two candidates were closely aligned with Biden and Trump, Whitmer pulling out a big win, I think that Michigan will go to Biden in 2024. I really do. That's going to be it for lean Democratic states. So now let's go to lean Republican states. Number one being the state of North Carolina. I think that this one is staying with Trump by a lean margin as it was in 2020. I don't think I need to talk about this one all that much. But Sherry Beasley lost, Ted Budd, the Republican, won this year in the Senate election by 3%. And I think Republicans did fine here. The Democrat was a pretty good candidate, Sherry Beasley, but I definitely see Trump holding on to the state. I think it's there to stay for the Republicans. And that's going to be it. So we have Nevada, Nebraska second, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, which will all be. Sorry. No, we have one more lean Democrat. Nebraska's second. I think will stay with Biden by a lean margin. So that puts Biden at 252, Trump at 235, and Nevada, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Georgia will all be tilt, which is pretty insane. 4 tilt states. That is unheard of, so less than 1%. So I'm just going to do it. Pennsylvania goes tilt Biden. I think that he's going to win here by a very narrow margin. I think that will give him the presidency with 271 electoral votes. Looking at these midterms, Josh Shapiro won by 17% in Pennsylvania. That is insane. You never hear of that in such a swing state like Pennsylvania. It went to Biden by 2%, 2.5 in 2020. That was an astonishing win for Josh Shapiro. And along with that, Dr. Oz was expected to win the Senate election here, which would be a hold for the Republicans. But no, for John Fetterman, even after his extremely poor performance in the debate, flipped the seat to the Democrats. They both won here. Trump was out campaigning for Oz and Shapiro. They were both Trump-endorsed candidates, and the Democrats won. That just shows you how Donald Trump can take down everything for the Republicans. So going to Nevada, this one's tough, but I mean, we have to, I'm going to give this one to Trump, just because Roe v. Wade won't be as much as an issue in 2024 as it was in 2022. That really encouraged a lot of Democrats to go out and vote in Nevada. But Nevada, with it shifting to the right, I see this as a very narrow Trump state, but extremely narrow. Extremely, extremely narrow. Going up to Wisconsin, I have this one going to Trump also. I think that he would win this one by a tilt margin. Just saying that Ron Johnson, the Senate Republican here, did win. And even though the Democrat was a weak candidate and he came so close, that just tells you so much. But the governor, Tony Evers, who won by 3%, the Democrat, we have to remember that he is the incumbent. And, he's not super unpopular. And Trump is probably going to connect with white working class voters a bit more than the Republican who is running, Tim Michels. But I think that, I do think that Trump would win here. Of course, I'm not totally confident. But I think that he would be able to squeak out a win with that white working class who are unhappy with Biden. And plus, I bet a lot of those white working class voters decided to not vote in 2020, okay? I definitely think that a lot of them didn't vote in 2022. Sorry, I said 2020, I meant 2022. Because they didn't like Evers or Michels. But going to Georgia, with it... Atlanta growing in population, the Democrats are more Democrats in Georgia, the population in Georgia growing. I think that Biden is going to squeak out a win here also. Warnock is going to win on the runoff, or in the runoff. Biden won here in 2020. Warnock and Ossoff both won in Georgia in 2022. Sure, Brian Kemp won the governorship, but that's different because it's governor, less partisan. But Democrats are here to stay in Georgia. They have performed well for 2 years now, and Warnock, I'm confident, will win the runoff in December. So I think that Biden is on track to win. So I never thought that I would say this, but I think that Biden is going to beat Trump in 2024. I really do. Looking at these midterms, of course it's totally possible. Look, we have 4 tilt states, guys. I'm super unsure about these states if they're less than 1%. I'm not that knowledgeable to predict how this, even 1% will go, So easily Biden could win Wisconsin and Nevada, and easily Trump could win Pennsylvania and Georgia too, which would give him victory. He could just win Pennsylvania and he could win. But my prediction as of now, Biden 287, Trump 251. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you all next time.